Dear students, today we are going to summarize the fifth short story of our textbook, The Servant by Semyonov. Let's try to know the different characters in this short story. The first character is Gerasim. The second character is Yegor. He is a coachman. The third character of this short story is Shirov. He is the master of Yegor. Polikarpych and his wife are the other servants of Shirov the merchant. Now dear students, let's come to the story. The story has Gerasim in its lead role. Gerasim returned to Moscow just at a time when it was not easy to find a job. The peasant lad was roaming in Wien for 3 weeks in search of a job. He stayed with his village relatives and friends. He was disheartened by the fact that he, a strong young man, was expected to go without jobs. Since early boyhood, Gerasim had lived in Moscow. He left his previous job when he had been called back for military service to his village. However, he had not been selected. In the village, life seemed to him dull. He was not used to the country life, so he decided that he would rather count the stones in Moscow than stay there. He left no stone unturned in his efforts to achieve some kind of job. One day, Gerasim betook himself to a friend from his village. His name was Yegor. The man was coachman to a merchant by the name of Shirov, in whose service he had been for many long years. Shirov trusted him absolutely and gave every sign of holding him in high favor. It was the man's glib tongue, chiefly, that had gained him his master's confidence. Gerasim approached and greeted him. The coachman gave his guest a proper reception, served him with tea and something to eat, and asked him how he was doing. Gerasim replied, "Very badly, Yegor Danlich. I have been without a job for weeks." Yegor said, "If you were to live and serve as I do, you wouldn't be out of work for months and months." Yegor was praising himself. Gerasim made no reply. "Listen, my boy," he said. "If you want, I will ask my master to take you as a servant here." Hearing this, Gerasim became very happy. He said, "Does he need a man?" To which the Yegor replied, "We have one, but he is not much good. He is getting old, and it's very hard for him to do the work." So now Yegor goes to his master, Shirov, to find a job for his friend. In order to secure this job for Gerasim, finding his master in good mood, the coachman poisoned the ears of his master against an old employee, Polikarpych. The master knew that the old man had all the merits of a good worker, yet he could not help falling to the eloquence of his coachman, and he decided to take Gerasim at the old man's place. When Yegor informed Gerasim, Gerasim was very happy to have finally a job for himself. He thanked Yegor humbly. He went to have a glimpse of his future home, which he was to stay in from the day he was supposed to join. As he went near, when Gerasim tried to peep in his future home, he heard an old couple from inside the same house weeping and moaning for losing their only source of living to the coachman's friend. He heard them complaining about the dishonest coachman who steals hay and fodder, yet by virtue of his tongue managed to be in good books of the master. They were saying that Yegor poisoned the ears of his master for securing the position for his friend. The old woman was going to tell her master that Yegor was a deceiver and a thief, but the old man stopped her by saying not to sing. The unfortunate couple was now left with no option other than begging for their survival. Gerasim felt guilty conscience. It stabbed his heart to know that his job was at the cost of this old couple. He went back to Yegor and informed him that he had decided not to take the position. Yegor turned furious on Gerasim. Yegor rebuked him for wasting his time, but Gerasim heard him silently and left the place. He was happy and light-hearted as he walked down the street. Thus the anticlimax is reached in the story when the young man did choose to be workless rather than to steal the old man's position. So dear students, the story has at least two major themes. One, how unworthy a man feels of himself when he is without work. Gerasim had almost descended, snatching the bread of the old man when he could not find a job otherwise. The second theme is that human consciousness must lead the man in the daily course of life. When Gerasim was awakened by his inner voice, he could realize how sinful it was to snatch somebody else's position to satisfy his own need.